Yes, I know. I've done an episode on Scott Pilgrim already. However, welcome back to Unsubscribed Off the Record. I'm your host, Rainstorm Live, and today I'm talking about Scott Pilgrim again. I know. I did an episode on Scott Pilgrim, like, a few months ago. I did it November 5th. It's been a year since I last talked about Scott Pilgrim on here. And that one, I feel like I focused more on the TV show because the title of that episode was more TV show oriented, whereas this one is more movie oriented. But the reason I want to talk about Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the movie, the live action from 2010, is because I was watching it with my friend, Dean, and he brought up a really good question that I hadn't spent a lot of time thinking about and didn't spend a lot of time thinking about until he mentioned it about halfway through the movie, and that's all I thought about for the rest of that film. And you may be wondering, well, what was the question that has been consuming almost all of your waking thoughts since watching it? The question was, in fact, did the rest of the Evil X's have to defeat the League in order to date Ramona as well? And I thought about this for a minute and went, that's a good question. I don't know. Let me think about that. And then I did, and I've been thinking about it. And while if you watch the movie, you get the answer to this question at the end of it, and so there's really no reason for me to sit here and talk about it for 20 minutes like I did last time. The simple answer is no. No, they didn't. Because Gideon says it took him like 2 hours to get all of the X's contact information to assemble a league. And we all know Gideon isn't even an X until X number 7, which means he's the last one. But what if there was, like, did the other X's ever have this idea? Like, was it just Gideon that thought, maybe I should ruin Ramona's love life forever and ever? Or did any of the other X's be like, maybe I should get the new guy to fight all the old guys. See if Ramona, or if they still really want Ramona then. And, like, while we never get that answer confirmed, I think it's an interesting idea and something that would definitely be found on AO3. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm one of the only people on planet Earth who have had this thought. And in theory, let's say that there was another X that did this. Which of the X's are the smartest? Like, which of the X's, other than Gideon, so up through 6, would have like, or I guess up through, 4? Because then 5 and 6 would have been the new guy. Like, which other X would have been smart enough to have this plan? And when thinking about it, you kind of have to think about who are the X's as a person. What was their end goal other than dating Ramona? And were any of them, like, did any of them actually care that much after the breakup? And for that, I've come up with an answer, right? You have Matthew Patel, who's the first X, so it obviously was not him, because 1, he was number 1, and 2, he wasn't really that butthurt over Ramona breaking up with him. I mean, sure, he wasn't happy. No one's happy in a breakup, but, like, he wasn't... He had no one else to fight. He had no one for the new guy to fight, except him. And why would he intentionally have someone fight him for a girl he was butthurt over? Like, or that he wasn't even butthurt over. So, obviously wasn't Matthew Patel. Number 2 was Lucas Lee, the skateboarder, the guy played by Chris Evans himself, and in both adaptations, actually. And I was thinking about it, and why would he have someone fight him and the guy before him? Because neither of them, like, Lucas Lee was one of the X's that were more butthurt over Ramona's breakup with him. Like, Matthew Patel was just kind of angry, but, like, in the movie, at least, with the way we see it, he looks sad about that when she gets with guy number 3. But why, like, you can't really have one evil ex. Like, that doesn't work. Like, it doesn't have the same ring as 7. Or I guess 2, you can't have the 2 evil exes. Like, no. This is a movie. This is fantasy. We need a better number. Which leads it to be Todd, right? You would think, oh, 3's a good fantasy number. Todd Ingram is a fucking idiot. I'm gonna say it. Todd is not that smart. And this is demonstrated in the movie, in which not only does Scott beat him, but then he gets his vegan powers taken away. And says gelato isn't vegan. Milk and eggs. Chicken parmesan isn't vegan. Todd. You beautifully stupid man. It's chicken parmesan. Chicken. That's literally fucking chicken and cheese. Because parmesan is a type of cheese. Like, 3 sounds pretty. And Todd moved on relatively quickly. Because he started dating Envy Adams. So it wasn't Todd. Which leads me to the best and only conclusion. Roxy. It had to have been Roxy if there was another ex to do this. Because it would have been the 4 of them, the 4 that I just mentioned, to fight 5 and 6. And then I guess 7, but, no. And in the movie, Roxy is the most upset over Ramona breaking up with her. And we see this, although it's not very touched on in the movie, because when Scott meets Roxy for the second time for their fight, Roxy's like, Scott has to beat me himself. It can't be you, Ramona. And then Scott's trying to piece together that Roxy and Ramona were a thing, because, again, this was 2010, and it's Michael Cera. Love Michael Cera, but Scott Pilgrim is not the sharpest tool in the shed, right? And so that leads me, Roxy, we see her, because Ramona's like, it was just a phase, I was just bi-curious. Ramona's upset, and Roxy has a very, upset reaction to this, because she very obviously cared deeply for Ramona. So I think if there were another ex to do it, it would have been Roxy. And because in the TV show, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I think, is the name. I haven't seen it since I last talked about it a year ago. But in the TV show, we see how upset Roxy is and how much she and Ramona truly loved each other, which makes me believe that it had to have been Roxy. If there was another ex to do it, it would have been Roxy. She, simply to me, is the smartest of the exes that Ramona had, other than Gideon. And you might be thinking, okay, well, why couldn't it have been 5 and 6 to fight Gideon? Because Ramona dated 5 and 6 simultaneously, and so that's really just ex number 5. Because why would they didn't even know about each other until, the end of their relationship. So, therefore, it couldn't have been them because they simply just didn't know about it. And they don't speak a whole lot in the TV or in the movie to anybody. That we meet them through a battle of the bands, and we don't get much character development or background about them until the TV show. We have nothing about the Karianagi twins until after Scott beats Roxy, and we just get a laminated little thing. But we don't have any background on the twins, so we can't talk about them very much unless you're talking about the TV show. But I'm talking about the movie, right? And so then, you've got Gideon, who Ramona breaks up with, gets back together with, breaks up with, and then he gets the League together officially to fight Scott. But if there were another ex to have made a League to fight any of the exes, because technically in the way it's explained in both the movie and the TV show, that never happened. But if it did, it would absolutely have had to be Roxy, because she's the only one who really seemed truly upset about it, which we see in all of the media about Scott Pilgrim. Roxy is very upset. She's the only one who seems truly devastated by the breakup. Because in the anime, it also shows that she's the only one Ramona ever actually, loved, if in quotations I say. But yeah, Roxy is also the smartest of all of the exes that we truly get information about and me, in my opinion, at least. There is someone out there who will argue that one of the other exes before Gideon is smarter. But you know what? I don't want to hear it. Because Todd literally said chicken isn't vegan. You had Matthew Patel, who just didn't care. And Lucas Lee, who had a skateboarding and a movie career to focus on and not a girl. So, maybe you have a different point of view. In which case, cool. Post about it online. Or don't. I don't really care. This is my opinion. But if there was another ex before Gideon, it would have been Roxy, ex number 4. And also, she's my favorite. Her and Todd are my favorite of the exes. And I will stand on that fact. But yeah, so that's my take on my friend's question of, did any of the other exes have to fight the league? And if so, which ex would have formed that league? My answer for you is, according to all media that we have, no. There was no other ex that fought the league because the league wasn't even assembled until Gideon, in who's 7, and that he was assembled purely to fight Scott, who was 8. Because, yes, Scott and Rona did break up, actually. Briefly. But they did. So, yeah. No, according to all canon media, there is no other ex had to fight the league. And if they did, Roxy would have been the one to form it. And it would have been her, Todd, Lucas, and Matthew. But yeah, see, not even 20 minutes. We're at like 12 minutes. So, already a better time than the previous episode. But yeah, my friend asked me this question, and I have been thinking about it, and I needed to put it out. And so I did. So that's my take. No, according to canon media, they didn't, and if they did, it would have been Roxy who started it, because she is the best ex, with maybe tied with Todd. And that's my take on it, because Scott is one of arguably the worst exes she had, because that guy, I could do an episode on how bad Scott Pilgrim is as a character, and how he is the worst in his own series. Also, I want to point out that the Scott Pilgrim movie does not technically pass the Bechdel test. Because I was thinking about that while I watched it, when I wasn't thinking about this question. But yeah, there you go. That's my take. That's my opinion. Do with it what you will. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and sticking around and being here. It means a lot to me. So, yeah. Thank you. And once again, this has been Unsubscribed Off the Record, and I'm your host, Rainstorm Live. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.